For latest updates, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon.
Back to town. The word back to town is also used very often in export cycle. There are times when you cart the cargo, bring the cargo into the custom station, you process it, and at the time of processing, either the customs finds some problem with it, or the shipper has got late in shipping out the cargo, or for any odd reason he does not need to pursue the export further. Then we use the word back to town, that is, you are permitted to take the cargo back into India, into the city, and hand it over back to the exporter. Such cargoes will not be exported. Back to town. Whenever an exporter presents some consignment to Indian customs for export purposes, and during the processes he feels before the export has taken place that he wants to take the cargo back. It may be because his relationship with his buyer has changed. It may be because he had to do certain processes. It may be because he is not satisfied with the quality of the consignment. There can be a number of reasons. Whenever the exporter, after filing the shipping bill and carting the cargo, tells customs that I do not want to export the consignment, customs will give him a permission which is known as back to town. So he can take the consignment back into town and get the shipping bill and the export cancelled. BRC, Bank Realization Certificate. Whenever any consignment is exported from India, suitable foreign currency, suitable foreign exchange is expected to come into India. The proof about how much money has come into the country and whether the money has come into the country is the document issued by the bank, which is known as Bank Realization Certificate. It is a very important document because when one looks at drawback or any of the incentives issued by the Director General of Foreign Trade, that is DGFT, everything is based on value, and it is only against realization of the correct value that the Government of India can issue any incentive, rebate, drawback to the exporter. So Bank Realization Certificate is a mandatory document, and we must not only ensure that it is submitted to customs, but it is also necessary to compare the FOB value on the Bank Realization Certificate with the actual FOB value which was shown on the shipping bill. In case there is a gap, there are processes which you have to do, and it is important for you to notice that whenever you notice a gap, you complete those processes in Indian customs. Bank Release Order, or BRO. Very often import consignments are consigned to the bank as consignee, especially in air cargo. When the cargo moves by air, the document is an airway bill. An airway bill is a not negotiable document, and hence delivery cannot be given on the basis of holding the airway bill by the consignee or his agent. Wherever the cargo is consigned to the bank issues a letter which tells the custodian or the carrier to give the cargo to the ultimate consignee for whom it has been imported. This document is known as a bank release order. Bill of entry. The document through which an import consignment can get processed and cleared through customs is called a bill of entry. Irrespective of whether the cargo comes by air, by sea, by land, the document is bill of entry. Bill of lading. The document for transport by sea is known as a bill of lading. A bill of lading is a negotiable document. If it is issued by the shipping company directly, we use the word master bill of lading, and if it is issued by a consolidator or a freight forwarder or an aggregator, then we use the word house bill of lading. Bond. There is a concept in Indian customs which says that in case you are not in a position to finish a particular process at a particular point in time when the clearances are going on, you can bind yourself to the President of India through the Commissioner of Customs to complete whatever formalities, paperwork, etc. is required. For this, they would take what is known as a bond on a stamp paper from the importer or the exporter, sometimes countersigned by the bank, and they would, against that bond, permit a clearance to you. This concept has got stretched to shipping lines saying that I will let you take my container for factory destuffing, but since you are taking my property, you have to bind yourself that in case there is any damage to my property, you will pay me for the damage or you will repair the damage and give it to me. So a bond is used for various purposes, and it's basically a binding with a legal effect that an importer exporter gives to another person who may be customs or who may be a carrier or even a forwarder. Bond debited. Whenever a bond is filed in Indian customs, it is filed for a certain period. It is filed for a certain number of consignments. Now, whenever a bond is filed for a certain period and a number of consignments, every time a consignment is cleared, either on export cycle or import cycle, the value and the quantity of the amount that the exporter or the importer has bound himself to customs has to be reduced. So every entry that is made in the bond for an export or an import is called bond debit. You can have a consignment where a bond is filed for a single consignment. Now, whenever a bond is filed for a single consignment, that means you do not have the concept of debiting the bond over multiple consignments, and the bond is valid only for that particular consignment.
For detailed learning of all logistics subjects, visit www.logiveda.com.